Hey friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm excited to be hopping along with some of my fellow Spellbinders creators today, and I'm going to be showing the BetterPress of the Month kit, this adorable floral BetterPress plate, as well as the matching sentiment and the coordinating die, and this is called Corner Sunflowers, and again is the BetterPress kit of the month for September 2023. And I wanted to do something more kind of quick and easy for this video today. I have a ton of backgrounds that I've made using paint and stencils and distress ink. So I thought I would go through and pull out just a few of the different backgrounds that I've created over, I don't know how long I've been hoarding onto these, but quite a long time. So these are just using distress inks or distress oxides or watercolor. So I don't really have exactly what I use to create these backgrounds, but you definitely should use what you have in your stash. And I have found that using the BetterPress on these backgrounds is such a great way to use up all of the different papers that you've been hoarding and saving. It doesn't get as deep of an impression than if you were to use the cotton card panels from Spellbinders, but it still makes a beautiful image and a slight impression. So we're still going to have some fun today with these different colored backgrounds. I picked out some inks from my BetterPress ink collection and that I thought would go really well with the different colors in those background papers that I have. So for the super colorful blue green paper, I'm just going to use the BetterPress black. I have clay for my reddish orange and I have tawny brown for my yellow. And I'm just grabbing one of my A2 nested rectangles to figure out what size I wanted to die cut all of my panels, and I went with kind of like the second largest of my set of nested rectangles. I'm grabbing my yellow tape to put my panels onto my BetterPress platform. This is on the top side, the plastic shim side. And I'm centering that so it's in between the A2 lines. And I'm going to add my tape where my plate will not cover anywhere where I want to make an impression. I've done this before if you've seen any of my earlier BetterPress videos. I think actually my very first one, where I just put tape down kind of not thinking, and I ended up not getting a full impression. So now I am much more careful about how I apply my tape. So I put it on the top and on the opposite side of where this plate will sit, but I noticed that it does kind of sag in that corner because there's nothing there to keep it in place. So I'm just going to roll up a piece of this yellow tape and place it under the corner. So that way it will stick to the plastic plate without actually blocking anything, and I get a nice clean impression. Like I said, for my yellow background, I'm using the tawny brown, and this is from the Nature Tones ink set. And when I apply my ink, I kind of twist it a little bit. I just find that this gets really good coverage, and I just prefer this over just stamping directly down and pulling it back up. I just feel like the twisting really kind of helps make sure there's lots of ink on the plate. Once I get it all inked up, I'm going to go ahead and place my shim on top using those magnets to hold it in place. And then I'm going to run it through my Platinum 6 that I have just off camera. And here you could see how beautiful that plate stamped onto my background. Like I said, because this is a piece, I believe, of just some mixed media cardstock, kind of a thinner cardstock. It didn't really give a very deep impression. Same with this color combination, but it still created such a beautiful image and I really love it. For that one, I used clay from the Desert Sunset ink set on that redishy orange cardstock, and again, I'm using the black from the Regal Tones for my blue background. So I went ahead and cleaned everything up, put that plate away, and now I did actually grab a cotton card panel to do my sentiment. And I'm keeping the same colors for the clay and tawny brown, but I thought I would bring out hydrangea, did I say that right? Hydrangea, oh my goodness, from the Flower Garden. It's the blue one, we're just gonna say blue. And I'm applying this cotton panel to my plastic shim, again using my tape to hold it in place. And I'm going to ink up my sentiment, and I'm going to do all three sentiments on one piece of cardstock. So once I get the blue ink all inked up on my plate for my first sentiment, I'll go ahead and put the plastic shim on top and run it through my platinum machine. Here you can see how pretty that sentiment turned out. And I'm just going to repeat this process, clean it off, and do the next color. So I have tawny brown for the second one, and then clay for the third one. And I really love these color combinations. I'm so happy. It feels very primary colored, but I think these cards are going to turn out a lot of fun. So now that I have all three inked up, and there is a really nice impression with these sentiments because it is, again, on that cotton card panel, I still will get that fun BetterPress look of a letterpress impression into the cardstock. And I'm going to use the coordinating die to cut out all three sentiments. So just lining it up and using my yellow tape to keep that die in place, and then I will run it through my die cutting machine. And once I have all three, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of match them up onto their backgrounds. And I'm going to make a completely flat card, not using any dimension today. I mean, granted, it's not completely flat because there is some dimension from layering cardstocks together, but no foam adhesive for these cards. I wanted some quick and easy thank you cards, and I am loving this, how it's turning out. I think I'm going to make a lot more after this because I have so many more backgrounds that I could use this on, and I think it's going to be a great way to use up some of those scraps. Once I have everything kind of lined up how I want it, I'll go ahead and grab my card bases so I can get to gluing. So I have three top folding A2 card bases. I'm just going to grab my tape gun, although I realized I forgot to refill it before recording. So I'm going to grab a different tape, and I'm just going to add some adhesive to the backs of all of my panels and glue them to the center of my card bases. And like I said, I had trimmed these down with a rectangle die to be slightly smaller than A2, so I have a little bit of that white border around all of my backgrounds of my three cards. Then I'll go ahead and grab my liquid adhesive with a fine point tip to glue my sentiments down. You could definitely pop this up if this is something you would actually prefer to have more dimension. I also thought about maybe die cutting some more of the sentiment coordinating die out of just some cheap cardstock and gluing a few layers behind that. So there was still some dimension to the card, but after kind of brainstorming what I wanted to do, I really wanted to do just a nice flat card that I could just stick in an envelope without any extra postage and get it in the mail. Now, of course, I love adding shine to my card, and a great way to do that is with enamel dots or pops of color. But again, trying to keep this a nice flat card. So I decide I'm just going to bring out some liquid kind of shine. This is from Ink on 3. It's a liquid pixie dust, but Spellbinders does have a clear, glittery kind of splattering tool. I will link it down below even though I didn't use it, and the name is like escaping me right now, the splattering that you use. But it's basically the same. I'm making my own version of it because I'm all out of it, and I'm just splattering on this clear shiny metallic liquid embellishment all around all three of these cards. Because it's clear, I didn't have to worry about it getting on my sentiment or affecting my ink impressions in any way. So just flicking that on with a small paintbrush. And here is a final look at my cards. You can see that subtle shine added by that. And you can see how beautiful the impressions are on all three of these. And then the touch of the BetterPress letterpress sentiment on the cards. But I hope you enjoyed my take on this month's BetterPress kit. Make sure you use the links down below to check out other Spellbinder creators today so you can see how they're using the kits for September as well. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll click like, and if you're new here, I hope you'll subscribe and come back. As always, you can find everything I use down below in the description box. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Bye!